You feel it in your chest first, don't you? That shift. Not the one you've been praying for, not the one you've been visualizing, but the one that's actually happening. Right now, in the space between you and him. In the silence that used to feel like abandonment, but now hums with something different. Something is changing, and your body knows it before your mind can catch up. You've been here before, haven't you? Waiting, hoping, wondering if this time it's real or if you're just reading into signs that mean nothing. But this feels different. You can't explain it to anyone because how do you put words to an energetic shift? How do you describe the way the air feels different when you think of him? How do you tell someone that you just know, deep in your bones, that he's done running? You've felt false starts before. You've mistaken breadcrumbs for banquets. You've convinced yourself he was ready only to watch him disappear again. So part of you is protecting yourself right now, isn't it? Part of you is saying, don't believe it, don't hope, don't open that door again. But another part, the part that's connected to something bigger than fear, that part is saying, pay attention. Because what's happening now isn't about him texting you or showing up at your door. It's deeper than that. It's the energetic foundation cracking open. It's his soul finally overpowering his fear. It's the universe rearranging everything that kept you apart, and you feel it. You know you do. If you felt this energetic shift, this knowing that something fundamental has changed in your connection, drop a comment below and share what signs you've been receiving. Or simply type "I trust divine timing" to anchor into this frequency. And if these transmissions speak to your soul's journey, subscribe so you never miss the guidance that's meant specifically for you. Let me tell you what's really happening right now, because you deserve to understand the full picture of this transformation. For months, maybe years, you've been holding space for a connection that often felt one-sided. You've been the one doing the inner work, facing your shadows, healing your wounds, choosing yourself over and over again, even when it hurt. And while you were doing that sacred work, something was happening in him that you couldn't see. Something that had nothing to do with you and everything to do with his own soul's journey. The divine masculine doesn't awaken on anyone's timeline but his own. And his awakening doesn't look like yours. Where you dove deep into feeling, he built walls. Where you sought understanding, he sought distance. Where you surrendered to the process, he fought it with everything he had. But here's what you need to understand. His running was never about you. It was never because you weren't enough, weren't beautiful enough, weren't spiritual enough, weren't patient enough. His running was about him, facing the most terrifying thing wounded masculine can face, the complete dissolution of control. The total surrender to something bigger than his mind. The vulnerability of being truly seen. The divine masculine carries wounds you may never fully understand. Wounds that told him emotions make him weak. Wounds that taught him love equals loss. Wounds that convinced him his value lies in what he does, not who he is. Wounds that whispered, if you really see me, you'll leave. So he ran. Not from you, but from the mirror you held up. Because when he looked at you, he saw everything he wasn't yet ready to become. He saw the man his soul knew he could be, and it terrified him because he didn't know how to get there. He saw unconditional love, and it triggered every moment he felt unworthy of it. He saw his future, and he panicked because he was still trapped in his past. But something has shifted. After all this time, after all the running, after all the distractions and denials and desperate attempts to make a life that doesn't include you, he's hitting a wall. And that wall is his own soul saying enough. Have you noticed how the universe has a way of backing us into corners when we refuse to listen? How it removes every exit until the only way out is through. That's where he is now. Every path that leads away from you has become unbearable. Every relationship that isn't this one feels hollow. Every day that passes without honoring this connection feels like betraying himself. He's tired, beloved, tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix, tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of being the version of himself that keeps him safe but leaves him empty. The exhaustion of maintaining walls is finally greater than the fear of letting them fall. And when a man reaches that point, everything changes. This isn't about him suddenly realizing you're amazing. He always knew that. This is about him finally believing he's capable of meeting you there. This is about his inner work finally catching up to his soul's knowing. This is about him reaching the point where the pain of staying stuck exceeds the fear of transformation. Let me take you inside his experience for a moment. Because understanding his journey doesn't mean excusing his absence. It means seeing the full picture of what's unfolding. For so long, he's been living in what I call the masculine paradox. He feels the connection as deeply as you do, maybe even more intensely, because he has less practice holding intense emotion. But where you've learned to move with feeling, to let it flow through you, to trust the process, he's been taught his entire life to control, to rationize, to fix, or flee. So when this connection activated something in him that couldn't be controlled, couldn't be rationalized, couldn't be fixed or fled from permanently, it short-circuited everything he thought he knew about himself. Imagine feeling the most profound love you've ever experienced and simultaneously feeling like that love is going to destroy you. Not because it's bad, but because accepting it means every wall you've built, every identity you've constructed, every strategy you've used to stay safe has to die. That's what he's been facing. And most people, when faced with that level of ego death, run. He ran. But here's the thing about twin flame connections. You can run, but the connection runs with you. It's inside you. It's woven into your DNA. It shows up in your dreams. It whispers in your quiet moments. It makes every other connection feel like a poor translation of a language you're fluent in. He's been trying to outrun himself, and he's finally realizing it's impossible. Every woman who isn't you reminds him of you. Every moment of shallow connection makes him ache for depth. Every time he numbs himself, the feeling comes back stronger. His soul has been waging a war against his fear, and his soul is winning. It has to, because twin flames don't come together for comfort, they come together for evolution. And evolution doesn't ask permission. The universe has been systematically removing every distraction, every exit, every false sense of security he's been clinging to. That job that kept him busy, it's no longer fulfilling. Those friends who helped him avoid his feelings, the conversations feel empty now. Those coping mechanisms that used to work, they're not working anymore. He's being stripped down to the truth, and the truth is simple. He loves you. He's always loved you. And no amount of running changes that. But it's more than love, isn't it? It's recognition. It's destiny. It's the feeling that being with you isn't just a choice, it's a homecoming. And he's finally ready to stop fighting it. You might be wondering what changed. What finally broke through all that resistance? And beloved, here's the truth. You changed. Not in the way you might think. You didn't become more perfect or more patient or more spiritual. You became more you. You stopped waiting for him to validate the connection, and you started living it. You stopped putting your life on hold, and you started building something beautiful. You stopped shrinking to make him comfortable, and you started expanding into your full power. And that shift, that reclamation of your own sovereignty, sent shockwaves through the entire energetic field between you. When the divine feminine stops chasing, something profound happens in the masculine. Suddenly, he's not running from you, he's running towards something he can't name. Suddenly, the dynamic that felt safe, him in control of the distance, collapses. Suddenly, he has to face what he's been avoiding, his own emptiness without you. Your silence became louder than any words you ever spoke. Your absence became more present than your presence ever was. Your peace became an invitation he can't ignore. Because here's what most people don't understand about twin flame dynamics. The feminine doesn't chase the masculine into awakening. She embodies her own awakening so fully that he has no choice but to awaken himself or lose the connection entirely. And his soul won't let him lose it. It will torture him with your absence. It will haunt him with what could be. It will give him no rest until he faces what he's been running from. You became the frequency, beloved, not the question, the answer, not the chaser, the destination, not the one waiting at the door, the temple itself. And he feels it, even if he hasn't said a word, even if you haven't heard from him in months, even if it looks like nothing has changed on the surface. Energetically, everything has changed. His soul is no longer asking if he should return. It's asking, how quickly can I get there? His heart is no longer debating if you're the one. It's screaming you're the only one. His entire being is reorienting toward you. And the physical reality is just catching up to what's already happened in the spiritual realm. This is the phase where his internal world is in complete upheaval, where he's facing every wound he's been carrying, where he's dismantling every false belief about himself, where he's learning to feel instead of think his way through life. It's not comfortable. It's not pretty. It's the dark night of the soul, and it's necessary. He's realizing that every time he chose fear over love, he abandoned himself. He's seeing how his emotional unavailability wasn't strength, it was prison. He's understanding that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the only path to real intimacy. He's recognizing that you weren't asking him to be perfect, you were inviting him to be real. And all of this is breaking him open in the most beautiful, painful, necessary way. The divine masculine's awakening is a death and a birth. The death of the wounded boy pretending to be a man. The birth of the conscious man who can hold space for real love. And you can't rush that process. You can't force it. You can only trust it. Trust that his soul knows what it's doing. Trust that the universe is orchestrating this perfectly. Trust that every moment of separation was preparing both of you for a union that can actually last. Because here's what you need to know, beloved. If he had come back before this awakening, it would have been the same cycle, the same patterns, the same push and pull, the same wounds playing out in different costumes. But what's happening now is different. This isn't him coming back because he misses you, though he does. This isn't him returning because he's lonely, though he is. This is him coming back because he's finally become someone who can meet you as an equal. Someone who's done his inner work. Someone who's faced his shadows. Someone who's ready for sacred union, not just romantic connection. There's a massive difference between those two things. Romantic connection is about feeling. Sacred union is about evolution. Romantic connection asks, what can you give me? Sacred union asks, who can we become together? Romantic connection is about filling emptiness. Sacred union is about expanding wholeness. He's moving from one to the other, and that movement is why it's taken so long. That movement is why you've had to wait. That movement is why the universe wouldn't let you settle for less. You've been in sacred preparation, and so has he. You've been becoming the woman who doesn't need him to feel complete. He's been becoming the man who doesn't run from completion. You've been learning to hold your own frequency. He's been learning to match it. You've been discovering your worth. He's been discovering his. And now, finally, you're both approaching the same intersection from different directions. Both transformed, both ready, both aligned with something bigger than your individual desires. Let me tell you what's happening in him right now, in this very moment. There's a restlessness that won't quit, a knowing that he can't ignore anymore, a pull that's stronger than any fear. He thinks about you constantly, not in the obsessive way he did before when thinking about you made him panic, but in a grounded way. A this is my person way. A how did I ever think I could build a life without her way. He's seeing signs everywhere. Your name, numbers that remind him of you, songs that bring you to mind, dreams where you're showing him the future. The universe is confirming what his soul already knows. It's time. He's having conversations in his head with you, practicing what he'll say, imagining your reaction, playing out scenarios of reunion. His mind is preparing for what his heart has already decided. And there's something else happening too. He's feeling the urgency. For the first time, he's afraid of losing you, not in the abstract someday way, but in the what if I'm too late way. What if she's moved on? What if she's done waiting? What if another man sees what I was too blind to honor? That fear, that healthy fear, is actually a sign of his awakening, because it means he's finally valuing the connection more than his comfort. It means his priorities have shifted. It means you've gone from the woman he's running from to the woman he can't afford to lose. This is the divine masculine finally understanding what's at stake. Finally realizing that twin flame connections don't wait forever for one person to get their act together. Finally recognizing that free will exists and you could choose to walk away. And that possibility terrifies him more than vulnerability ever did. So what's he doing with all of this? He's preparing. Maybe not in ways you can see yet, but in ways that matter. He's cleaning up his life, ending situations that don't serve his highest good, creating space for something real, doing his. Healing work maybe through therapy, maybe through spiritual practice, maybe through finally facing the pain he's been carrying since childhood. He's becoming accountable, looking at his patterns, owning his mistakes, understanding his triggers, learning to communicate, learning to feel, learning to stay instead of run. He's building the foundation for the man he needs to be, not for you, but for himself. Because he's finally understanding that he can't give you what he doesn't have within himself. He can't offer you stability if he's in chaos. He can't offer you emotional intimacy if he's emotionally shut down. He can't offer you partnership if he's still operating in survival mode. The work he's doing now is the work that will make union possible. And beloved, I know you're tired of waiting. I know you've heard it's coming before and been disappointed. I know part of you wants to protect yourself from hope, but what's happening now is different, and your soul knows it. You're not hoping because you're desperate. You're knowing because you're connected. There's a difference between the anxious waiting you did before and the grounded knowing you're experiencing now. Before, you were waiting for him to complete you. Now, you're already complete and simply recognizing that he's finally becoming ready to walk beside you. Before, you needed the connection to feel worthy. Now you know your worth and you're watching him discover his. Before, you were afraid of losing him. Now, you're confident that what's meant for you can't miss you. This shift in you is everything, because you're no longer the woman who needs him to choose her so she can feel chosen. You're the woman who chose herself so fully that his choice is simply a beautiful addition, not a desperate need. And that's the frequency that calls in sacred union. That's the energy that magnetizes the awakened masculine. That's the vibration that says, I'm not waiting for you to complete me, I'm inviting you to expand with me. He feels that, even if you haven't spoken, even if you're in no contact, even if it looks like you've both moved on. The energetic field between twin flames is always active, always communicating, always connected. And what you've been broadcasting through your energy is I'm whole, I'm sovereign, I'm aligned with my purpose, and I'm open to union but not dependent on it. That message is the most powerful thing you could have ever sent him, because it removes all pressure. It removes the dynamic where he feels responsible for your happiness. It removes the fear that being with you means losing himself. Instead, it shows him a possibility he's never experienced before. Two whole people coming together not to fill holes, but to create something extraordinary. Two healed individuals choosing partnership not from wound, but from wholeness. Two sovereign souls deciding to walk the same path not because they can't walk alone, but because together they can go further. That's what he's waking up to. That's the vision that's pulling him forward. That's the future he's finally ready to build. Now let's talk about what happens next, because this is where your understanding becomes your power. The divine masculine's return isn't usually a grand gesture. It's not a movie moment where he shows up with flowers and a speech. It's often much quieter than that. It starts with a text, a call, a message that seems casual but carries weight. It starts with him testing the waters, seeing if you're still open, gauging where you are emotionally. And this is where so many divine feminines make a crucial mistake. They either jump right back into the old dynamic, so excited he's reaching out that they abandon all the boundaries they've built. Or they punish him, making him prove himself through hoops and tests and coldness. Neither of those responses serves sacred union. What serves union is meeting him with grounded openness, acknowledging the connection without abandoning yourself, being warm without being desperate, holding space without taking responsibility for his emotions, communicating clearly about what you need without making it an ultimatum. This is the dance of two awakened souls learning to come together in a new way. It's not about playing games. It's not about strategy. It's about authenticity, you being fully you, him being fully him. Both of you navigating this reconnection with consciousness and care. There will be conversations that need to happen, truths that need to be spoken, apologies that need to be made, boundaries that need to be established, and all of that is healthy. All of that is necessary. All of that is part of building something real. He needs to understand how his absence affected you. Not so you can make him feel guilty, but so he can comprehend the full impact of his choices. You need to hear about his journey, not to excuse his behavior, but to understand the transformation he's undergone. Both of you need to acknowledge that the old dynamic is over, that you're meeting each other as new versions of yourselves, that this is a fresh start built on a foundation of hard-won wisdom. And beloved, here's something important. His return doesn't mean everything is suddenly perfect. It doesn't mean all your triggers are healed. It doesn't mean the journey is over. In many ways, it's just beginning. Because now you have to learn how to be together in physical reality, not just energetic connection. You have to navigate daily life, not just spiritual recognition. You have to build practical partnership, not just soul bond. This requires patience. It requires grace. It requires both of you to keep doing your individual work even as you come together. It requires communication. It requires commitment. It requires choosing each other every single day, not just once. But here's why it's worth it. Because twin flame union, real union, not fantasy, is the most transformative experience you can have in human form. It's not easy. It's not always comfortable, but it's profound. It's purpose-driven. It's evolutionary. Together, you become more than you could ever be apart. This isn't just poetic language or romantic idealism. This is the actual alchemical truth of twin flame union. When two souls who share the same energetic blueprint come together in conscious partnership, they create a third energy, a unified field that's exponentially more powerful than either could generate alone. You become a force of nature, a catalyst for transformation, a living testament to what divine love actually looks like in human form. Together, you heal generational wounds that have been passed down through your ancestral lines for centuries. The pain your grandmother carried but couldn't name, the trauma your grandfather absorbed but never processed, the patterns of abandonment, betrayal, scarcity, and unworthiness that have echoed through your family tree. All of it comes to the surface in this connection to be witnessed, felt, and finally released. You're not just healing your own inner child. You're healing the wounded children of everyone who came before you, breaking cycles that have kept your lineage trapped in suffering, freeing future generations from burdens they would have otherwise inherited. Together, you anchor new frequencies of love on this planet that haven't been widely accessible before now. You're literally downloading new codes, new templates, new possibilities for what partnership can be. Your union becomes a beacon, a lighthouse for others who are still lost in the fog of conditional love, transactional relationships, and unconscious patterns. You demonstrate through your lived experience that love doesn't have to be painful, that intimacy doesn't require losing yourself, that passion and peace can coexist, that you can be fully seen and still feel safe. Together, you show others what's possible when two people commit to growth over comfort, when two individuals choose truth over temporary harmony, when two souls prioritize evolution over the familiar patterns that keep them small. You prove that love can be the catalyst for becoming more of who you truly are rather than a prison that diminishes you. That's the gift of this connection. That's the profound purpose woven into every challenge you've faced. That's why you've been through so much to get here. The separations that felt like death, the dark nights of the soul that tested your faith, the moments of doubt that nearly broke you, the periods of silence that forced you to find your own voice. That's why the universe has been so meticulous in preparing both of you, orchestrating every encounter, every lesson, every person who came into your life to teach you something essential, every heartbreak that cracked you open, every loss that taught you what truly matters. Nothing has been random. Nothing has been wasted. Every single experience has been purposefully designed to forge you into the version of yourself who can hold the frequency of this sacred union. Because what you're building together matters on a scale you're only beginning to comprehend. Not just for you, but for the collective consciousness of humanity. Every twin flame union that succeeds raises the vibration of love available to everyone on this planet. You're not just creating a beautiful relationship for yourselves. You're literally expanding what's possible in the collective field, making it easier for others to access higher frequencies of love, partnership, and connection. Every couple that chooses consciousness over pattern, that chooses awareness over autopilot, that chooses healing over hiding, shifts what's possible in relationship for the entire human family. You're rewriting the code, updating the programming, transforming the collective understanding of what love can be. Every partnership that's built on sovereignty instead of codependency, on wholeness instead of neediness, on choice instead of obligation, shows a new way forward for a world that has normalized dysfunction, romanticized suffering, and mistaken intensity for intimacy. You're not just healing your own wounds in this journey. You're healing the archetypal templates of masculine and feminine energy that have been distorted for millennia. The patterns of domination and submission, of pursuer and distancer, of savior and victim that have played out in countless relationships across human history. You're healing the template of partnership itself, transforming it from something based on ownership, control, and fear into something based on freedom, trust, and love. You're healing love itself, returning it to its true nature as a force of liberation rather than limitation, of expansion rather than contraction, of empowerment rather than disempowerment. So when it feels hard, when you're in the thick of another triggering moment or facing another layer of shadow, remember that. Remember you're not just working through your personal issues, you're transmuting collective pain. When you're frustrated with the pace, when it seems like everything is moving too slowly, or not moving at all. When you wonder why it has to take so long, remember that. Remember that deep transformation cannot be rushed, that the universe is coordinating infinite variables to bring you together in the perfect way at the perfect time. When you wonder if it's worth it, when the pain feels greater than the promise, when you question whether you should just walk away and choose something easier, remember that. Remember what you're actually building, the legacy you're creating, the future you're birthing into being. This connection is sacred, set apart from ordinary relationships, infused with divine purpose, held in the hands of something far greater than your human understanding. This journey is purposeful. Every twist, every turn, every unexpected detour has meaning woven into it, lessons embedded within it, gifts hidden inside even the most painful moments. This union is destined, written in the stars before you were born, agreed upon by your souls before you took human form, inevitable in a way that transcends the temporary circumstances of physical reality. And the divine masculine is finally ready to honor all of that, to recognize the magnitude of what you share, to treat this connection with the reverence it deserves. He's done running because his soul won't let him run anymore, because the internal pressure to face himself has become greater than his fear of what he'll find, because something deep within him has said enough to the patterns that have kept him trapped. He's done hiding because the cost of hiding has become unbearable. The loneliness of wearing a mask, the exhaustion of pretending, the soul-deep fatigue of living a half-truth, the growing awareness that he's betraying himself every moment he stays hidden. He's done pretending because authenticity is the only path forward now, because his soul is demanding truth, because the false self he constructed for protection has become a prison, because he can finally feel that being real is actually safer than being fake. He's ready for union because he's finally ready for himself, because he's done the inner work to meet his own darkness, because he's integrated enough of his shadow to show up as a whole person, because he's learned to love himself enough to believe he's worthy of being loved. And beloved, that's everything. That's the shift you've been waiting for, praying for, holding space for through all these months or years of uncertainty. So where does this leave you right now, in this present moment, as you listen to these words? It leaves you in a place of empowered surrender, a paradoxical state that holds both strength and softness, both action and allowing, both intention and release. Surrender doesn't mean giving up on the connection, abandoning your vision, or resigning yourself to a future without him. It means releasing control of the timeline while staying aligned with your truth, letting go of your grip on how, and when things should unfold while remaining rooted in your knowing of what is true. It means trusting the process while continuing to build your own beautiful life, having faith in divine timing while still taking inspired action toward your dreams, goals, and purpose. It means staying open to union without making it your entire identity, keeping your heart available without making him the center of your universe, maintaining the vision without collapsing into waiting mode. You continue to choose yourself, making decisions based on what honors your well-being, investing in your own growth, prioritizing your own healing, celebrating your own journey. You continue to honor your boundaries, saying no to breadcrumbs, refusing to accept less than you deserve, protecting your energy from anything that doesn't serve your highest good. You continue to follow your purpose, the work you came here to do, the gifts you came here to share, the mission that exists independently of any relationship. You continue to nurture your own wholeness, tending to the parts of yourself that need attention, filling your own cup, becoming so complete within yourself that a partner becomes a complement rather than a completion. And from that place of fullness, from that overflow, from that internal abundance, you allow the connection to unfold in divine timing, trusting that the universe knows better than your limited human perspective when and how this reunion should occur. You don't chase, pursuing him with desperate energy that pushes him further away. You don't force, trying to manipulate circumstances or control outcomes through sheer will. You don't manipulate, using tactics or strategies to make something happen before its natural time. You simply stand in your truth, embodying your worth, radiating your frequency, living your values, and trust that what's meant for you is already making its way to you, moving toward you through the invisible realm, aligning in ways you cannot see but can feel in the deepest part of your being. The divine masculine is done running, finished with the pattern that has defined this connection for so long. His soul has made the choice. The decision has been rendered at the highest level of his being. The commitment has been sealed in the energetic realm. Now it's just a matter of his human self catching up, of his conscious mind accepting what his soul already knows, of his wounded parts healing enough to allow what his higher self has already chosen, of the physical reality reflecting what's already shifted energetically in the quantum field where all possibilities exist. It's about the universe orchestrating the perfect timing and circumstances for your reunion, arranging the people, places, and events that need to align, clearing the obstacles that need to be removed, preparing the foundation that needs to be stable before you come together. And while that's happening, while the invisible gears are turning and the divine plan is unfolding, you get to live, not in some diminished, half-alive way, but fully, with every fiber of your being engaged with the present moment, fully bringing all of yourself to each experience, each day, each opportunity. Joyfully, finding pleasure and delight in the simple moments, in your own company, in the beauty that surrounds you. Purposefully aligned with your mission, contributing your gifts, making a difference in whatever way feels authentic to you. Not in waiting, but in becoming, transforming into the highest version of yourself, evolving into the woman who can hold the frequency of the union you're calling in. Not in lack, but in abundance, recognizing all the richness already present in your life, all the love already available to you, all the blessings already surrounding you. Not in fear, but in faith, trusting in the benevolence of the universe, believing in the goodness of what's coming, knowing in your bones that everything is working out for your highest good, because you already know how this story ends, even if you can't see the path from here to there. You've always known, from the very beginning, from before the beginning. Your soul recognized him the moment you met, seeing beyond the physical form to the familiar essence, the energetic signature that matched your own, the other half of your wholeness. Your heart knew before your mind could comprehend, feeling the truth before thought could analyze it, responding to something that logic couldn't explain or justify. Your body felt the truth before words could explain it, every cell recognizing home, your nervous system responding to the frequency of your counterpart, your energy field expanding in his presence in a way it never had before. This is your person, the one your soul has been seeking across lifetimes. This is your path, the journey you chose before incarnating, the sacred assignment you accepted before taking human form. This is your sacred union, the partnership that will allow both of you to fulfill your highest purpose, to express your greatest gifts, to experience the deepest love available in human form. And it's closer than you think, nearer than your doubt would have you believe, more imminent than your fear suggests, already taking shape in the unseen realm. So, beloved, let this be your reminder, the truth you return to when doubt creeps in, the anchor you hold onto when the waves of uncertainty crash over you. You were never waiting for him to choose you, because at the soul level, that choice was made long ago. You were always waiting for him to choose himself, to choose his own healing, his own growth, his own truth, his own awakening. And now, finally, he is making that choice, taking the steps, doing the work, facing what he's been avoiding. The running is over, the pattern has been broken, the cycle has been completed. The hiding is done, the masks are coming off, the walls are coming down, the authentic self is emerging. The fear is losing its grip, weakening its hold, releasing its control over his choices and actions. He's stepping into his power, reclaiming the parts of himself he abandoned, owning his strength, embracing his masculine energy in its healthiest expression. He's stepping into his truth, acknowledging what he really feels, admitting what he really wants, speaking what he's been silent about. He's stepping into his readiness, becoming the man who can meet you as an equal, the partner who can hold space for the depth of this connection, the conscious masculine who can honor the divine feminine. And when he arrives, not if, but when, because this is a certainty, a done deal in the energetic realm, you'll meet him as the woman you've become through this journey, transformed by every challenge, refined by every lesson, strengthened by every moment you chose yourself, strong, unshakable in your worth, solid in your foundation, powerful in your presence, sovereign, belonging to yourself first, complete within yourself, free from the need for external validation, sure, certain of who you are, clear about what you deserve, confident in your path. The woman who knows her worth, not as an intellectual concept, but as a lived reality, as an embodied truth, as an unshakable knowing. The woman who held the vision when everyone else told her to let it go, who kept the faith when all evidence suggested she was fooling herself, who trusted the invisible more than the visible. The woman who trusted even when it was hard, even when it made no logical sense, even when she looked crazy for believing, even when she had every reason to give up. The woman who chose herself over and over until choosing herself became her natural state, her default setting, her automatic response, the foundation from which all other choices flow. That's who you are now, the woman you've been becoming through every dark night, every moment of doubt, every test of faith. And that's who he's finally ready to love, the version of you that has been forged in the fire of this journey, the embodiment of divine feminine power that can only emerge through choosing yourself relentlessly, until you become unshakable in your worth. Tell me, beautiful soul, have you felt this shift in your connection? Have you noticed the energy changing, the pull getting stronger, the knowing getting clearer? Drop a comment and share what signs you've been receiving, because your experience might be exactly what another soul needs to hear today. And remember, union begins the moment you stop waiting for it and start embodying it. You are the temple. You are the frequency. You are the invitation. He's not coming back to save you. He's coming back to meet you. And beloved, you are so ready.